basically, I believe that Donald and Cynthia will start a Bitcoin reserve where the United States will own probably somewhere between 2 to 5% of the Bitcoin supply over the next 4 years. Well, maybe longer, but it'll initiate in the next 4 years. And on top of that, the minute they announce that, everyone's going to be buying Bitcoin, right? Like all of these other governments, like El Salvador has been accumulating a bunch of Bitcoin supply, but I think a lot more governments will basically copy the United States, start their own reserve. And I think that if you're investing in Bitcoin now, you're going to be very happy in the next couple of years. Yeah.
What is up, Entrepreneur DNA family? This one is going to be good for all my crypto investors, alternative investors. Our guy, the trading genius, I call him, TradeGenius.com is his website. Ryan Meyer is here, and this is why he believes Donald Trump is going to get Bitcoin to $1 million per coin. What's up, bro?
How's it going? Thank you so much for having me.
Let's hit that on. Donald Trump's going to get Bitcoin to $1 million for a coin.
I think so. At least.
What are you thinking? Why would you say that?
I think there's a number of reasons. I think the main reason is the Bitcoin reserve. He's working with Cynthia Loomis, who's the senator in Wyoming, super pro crypto policy. They're doing a lot in Wyoming. But basically, I believe that Donald and Cynthia will start a Bitcoin reserve where the United States will own probably somewhere between 2 to 5% of the Bitcoin supply over the next 4 years. Well, maybe longer, but it'll initiate in the next 4 years. And on top of that, the minute they announce that, everyone's going to be buying Bitcoin, right? Like all of these other governments, like El Salvador has been accumulating a bunch of Bitcoin supply, but I think a lot more governments will basically copy the United States, start their own reserve. And I think that if you're investing in Bitcoin now, you're going to be very happy in the next couple of years. Yeah.
I mean, I think if you're investing Bitcoin now, you're happy now, right? Like today, as a moment in time, I'm just going to check because I'm a crypto investor myself. I don't day trade.
Yeah.
But what are we at? 92,000 right now?
I have no idea. But
Bitcoin itself is at...
Make me happy. Come on.
Well, I got to get to my home screen. $92,600.
That's an all-time high.
All-time high, buddy. What a great day to be recording this podcast.
Yeah. Dogecoin's at 41 cents.
Look at that. That's insane, right? People are like Doge, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's moving.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't day trade crypto. I'm real estate through and through, but I'm an investor, right? So I pick and choose my investments. I love crypto. Talk in a general sense, right? Your website is TradeGenius.com. So anyone who wants to know more about Ryan and what he does and how he does it, TradeGenius.com. But what is happening right now to push the needle? Because as someone who's invested in crypto for 6 years, I mean, I was buying Bitcoin when it was $1,800.
We love that.
So maybe it was more in 6 years, but you get the point.
Yeah.
What's going on right now?
I think the big impact is Donald Trump being elected.
Okay.
I think that's what's pushing the needle immediately. I think more generally the market's been primed for a leg up for
Sure.
the last couple of months. And you're seeing, I think there's crypto specifically has a lot of cycles, right? And a lot of things kind of go into those cycles. I think one's venture capital. And so you've seen off of the tail end of the last cycle, a lot of the venture money that was flowing in there. A lot of them are getting liquidity events, right?
Yeah.
So there's all the portcos are now launching tokens. They're starting to see liquidity, which means that they can go raise another fund, and they're more than happy to deploy the rest of the money that they have.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see basically you get a bunch of funded companies, you get a bunch of tokens, you get a bunch of retail interest. There's all these kind of components that come into really pushing the market forward. And oftentimes there needs to be some sort of catalyst. The last 2 years we have the ETFs, which are a huge catalyst.
Yeah.
And then that coupled with now Donald Trump being a pro.
Yeah, but the last 2 years, would you say anything happened? I don't really remember because I don't day trade, but I feel
Sure.
For example, Ethereum, I mean, it was somewhere between 2,200 and 2,800 for as long as I can remember. It really didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, no, I've become less faithful in ETH. I was holding a lot of ETH for a while.
Sure.
But it hasn't been moving. So I've been holding a lot of Solana.
Yeah.
I'm a big Solana guy. I think it's an awesome, and all of the things, maybe not L2s and things, but a lot of the meme coins and things like that are being launched on Solana because it's super fast, super cheap, user friendly. Yeah. And a lot of our volume on Genius we see on Solana as well.
So let's break down kind of what I think a lot of the listeners probably don't know, some of the very basics, right?
Sure.
So I want you to rewire your genius here and go back into just basics.
Yeah.
There's the hold coins, right? And stable coins, the Bitcoin, the Ethereum.
Yeah.
What else would be considered in that?
I'd say Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana are probably the three main.
Stable coins.
Yeah.
let's walk through the kind of hierarchy of coins,
Sure.
right? So you have your stable coins, Bitcoin being the top of the top, right?
Yeah.
Ethereum and Solana. Let's talk about those two coins. Why are they stable? What do they really do? We don't have to get in the trenches about
Sure.
like exactly, but
Yeah.
why would they be considered stable? Then what's the tier under that, right? And then going all the way down to altcoins and meme coins and all this other stuff.
I think, okay, so to start, coins represent different things, right? And so usually blockchains specifically have a native coin, right? Bitcoin, the blockchain has its native coin, which is Bitcoin. Same thing with Ethereum. Native coin is Ethereum and Solana is Solana. They're like the three largest blockchains. And I think that's kind of why their coins are valued at what they're valued at, right? Because you need them for gas fees and other things. And so there's value accumulation there. And then outside of that, there's like different categories of coins. We have like alts, which you mentioned, which are basically alternative blockchains. We call them alts, but they're just smaller blockchains that don't see as much usage.
But it's still a blockchain.
But it's still a blockchain, yeah.
Okay.
And then they have their native tokens. Maybe some good examples of that are like Phantom, for example. And I could get into like so many different like specific examples, but like Phantom, maybe Arbitrum, etc.
Is that ARB, ARB?
Yeah.
So I've invested in ARB. What is Phantom's?
Phantom's like an
what is the ticker? What's the ticker?
FTM.
Yeah. I have some FTM.
So they're rolling out like a new L2, and they'll have like a bunch of things, but
there's an actual functionality. What I think some people need to understand is this isn't some, when crypto started to first hit the scene 8 years ago or whatever, when people started to really recognize it, people are like, this is all fake nonsense. There's just a thing that people are investing money in. There's no paper to it, right? So it's not like stocks where there's paper. There's no real estate to it. So people are just like, it's nothing. And funny enough, my uncle, I love you, and my accountant,
of course,
he was by far the biggest hater. Like he thought I was an absolute lunatic.
Degenerate.
Like he said, what the fuck are you you're putting 10 grand into what? Like he just was like, this is going to die. You're going to lose your money. Obviously I've proved him well wrong, and have made into the 7 figures in crypto. But I say that to just say like these even altcoins technically have functionality behind them, which would be the blockchain, and they do all different stuff, right?
A lot of them, they can vary from like governance to like being like the it's not like a value accrual mechanism, but it's like gas. So like if a blockchain's like a decentralized computation, you need that specific token to like facilitate that compute, right? So like there's so many different examples. Like and another example that people might be familiar with is like FTX had a token FTT. And if you held FTT, you would receive lower fees on trading and things. And so we may or may not be doing something similar to that in the future. But I think there's like a ton of different use cases. The majority of the time that the difference between use cases varies, but they always stay away from being considered a security. That's like the most important thing.
That they have to stay away, right? Because I remember, a year ago, 2 years ago, they were going after everything being a security and everything like stopped in government. Like, these are all securities. In my understanding is that's all kind of done. They all kind of proved it. No, they're not securities. So anything new that comes out, their whole thing is they don't want to be a security. Right?
Exactly. Depending on like what and if there is any sort of like characteristic that you might consider it a security, they try and initiate that characteristic after the fact. So the way a lot of these companies are structured is you'll have a Delaware C Corp, right? And that'll be a development company. And then you'll have a Cayman Island Foundation. The Cayman Island Foundation is a decentralized organization where people vote. And so, like, as I mentioned, like governance, right? Like if you're holding the token, you can participate in this voting. And the Cayman Foundation is responsible for kind of pushing a lot of agendas, and the development company is the one developing these things, and then basically creates proposals for the DAO to say yes or no. And so that way, you can stay away from like issues with different organizations. But anyway, so a lot of times whenever people do these things, what they'll do is they'll basically push, if it has a characteristic of a security, it'll be something that's voted on by the DAO, not so much the development company. So, but it's very complicated, and everything's in the gray space. There's not like a lot of regulation around crypto right now. So
I think, I would still make the argument, and tell me if you agree. 8 years, I don't even remember when it was. Probably 2012, I guess. I was buying Bitcoin at like 1,800. That's 12 years ago. Is that right? Maybe that's a little long.
Yeah, well,
Maybe no, it wasn't 2012. Maybe it was more like 2014, 15.
1800, I think. Yeah,
Something. Okay,
around that
so
price.
call it 10 years ago.
Sure, yeah.
And literally, I had a buddy. Just trust me on this. This thing is the new thing. It's going to hit. I promise you. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll trust you. I'll throw it at it.
Sure.
Right. And I think he was buying it like 700. He was like, dude, my money's doubled in like 40 days. And I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Whatever this thing was. Right. And obviously that was a great play. But I say all that to say we're still infantile when it comes to crypto. Right. Like really infantile.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Yeah.
I think like kind of like the vision for Genius, I can give you like where we're at now and we like plan on going towards. But right now, I think most people use Genius to trade meme coins. Full transparency. Right?
Sure.
You hear of Dogecoin, then you hear of all these other coins. And Genius is a place to basically buy any token you want.
So talk about what that is. So what is TradeGenius.com?
Yeah. So TradeGenius.com is like a first of its kind exchange. So I can kind of give you like the alternative. So we have Coinbase. Everyone's heard of Coinbase.
Sure.
Coinbase is really cool. Two big problems with Coinbase. First is they custody your funds. So you deposit $100 on Coinbase, they can freeze your funds. Get fucked if they do it.
That's right.
Who cares, right? The second thing is you can only buy what they tell you can buy because they have listing teams.
That's right.
So that's like
I tried to buy shit that wasn't on their platform, and I'm like,
exactly.
Now what?
Exactly.
Right.
And so that's a centralized exchange. Great because it feels safe, but those are the two big issues. The alternative is a decentralized exchange, and they're usually chain specific. So like Arbitrum. Ethereum, there's a bunch of tokens like Dogecoin. People don't know this, but Dogecoin is actually a coin launched on Ethereum, right? And so there's millions of coins on all these different chains. And so decentralized exchanges are cool, but they're always chain specific. So you're like, okay, I can only buy tokens on this, and it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm not even gonna get into it because it's like complicated to get money on these chains and then buy, and there's like liquidity fragmentation. So basically, what we said, we were like, what if we could make it as easy as buying something on Coinbase?
Yep.
Give you full self custody of the funds. And then do it across all chains so that that way there's no liquidity fragmentation. And so that's what Genius is. It's the first place to buy any token on any chain instantly.
And you created it.
Yes. It's
You're
the first
smarter.
of its kind. Yeah.
You're smarter than me by a lot.
No. But
wow.
Not me. It's the Shuttle Labs team. Yeah. So
I mean, that is cool as shit. And so I tell anyone, if you're interested, you got to make sure you go over there, right? TradeGenius.com.
Yeah.
Because I'm interested. So if I'm interested, you guys should probably be interested. So I would tell you, well, let's keep going through this hierarchy, right? So we got to the altcoins, right? Alternative coins, which essentially are still blockchain, but their functionality maybe is less, or they're smaller chains. Sure. What is the next layer of this?
I'd say the two other kind of types of coins are like what we consider cash, so like cash equivalents, so USDC or USDT. So they're basically pegged to the US dollar. There's like large organizations.
Are they pretty safe at that point?
Yeah. So like it depends on which one specifically, but like USDC, full faith in. Yep. Like they hold like US treasuries plus US dollars to back their USDC 1-to-1. So if you're holding $1 in USDC, you know there's like actually something behind it.
Interesting.
But I think USDC is super powerful because it allows for like instant cross-border payments anywhere in the world. So like
to any platform. So you could buy if I took my USDC from Coinbase, I could buy on your platform because it's just 1-to-1.
Exactly, yeah. And so but like even like paying people too, right? Like if like we have engineers in India and Venezuela and all these places, it's like I pay them to their Genius accounts USDC. And I think like the people in America, what they have a problem with and what they can't wrap their heads around is like, how does this impact my life? Like, why should I buy this when it doesn't change my life? It's like, it doesn't need to change your life. It's changing like many others' lives.
Yeah.
And it'll eventually kind of come full circle. And like, I think like the global economy will operate on like USDC slash like crypto. And that's kind of our big bull thesis. Like right now, meme coins are super popular on Genius. Like you can buy a meme coin, but in the future, I think many things will be tokenized, like real estate, intellectual property. So many things will have tokens and have different values and be geographically assigned. And we want Genius to be like the US stock exchange, but for the world. So like where anyone can go buy any token instantly. Yeah. That's like the big picture.
So we already went through, did we get to meme coins? So where do meme coins play into this?
Yeah. Meme coins, I love meme coins.
Of course.
Yeah. They people think they're stupid. I also thought they were stupid. Back in like 2016, all my friends were buying Dogecoin and I was like, this is so fucking stupid.
And they're buying at 0.000000001 and now it's like 40 cents.
Exactly, yeah. So they've done all right.
Yeah.
But you know, my ignorance was like, this is stupid. There's no value assigned to it. Like what
Sound like my uncle.
Yeah, I did sound like your uncle. But then I kind of came to this moment where I was like, there doesn't need to be any value because all meme coins it's like assigning value to culture.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And so it's like if something has cultural relevance, then like people are gonna buy it. And like we've seen that like all these meme coins launching like every day. And I think that's kind of like, as I mentioned, like if you can't buy something on Coinbase, then like you're shut out of luck, right? And so our whole thesis was like Dogecoin was once not on Coinbase, and it was valued way less than it was when it was on Coinbase. So like imagine if you can buy coins on Genius and then get the upside of whenever these big guys list them. Like that's when you want to get in. Yeah. So trying to give people that opportunity is like a big thing for us as well. Yeah.
So a couple random questions. We kind of started the episode talking about Donald Trump, how you think he's going to get Bitcoin to $1 million per coin.
Sure.
But then let's play into this next thing that was announced, I think, yesterday or the day before. Donald just made Elon Musk the head of
Doge.
But essentially like, I forgot what the even name was, but he's like in government now.
Yeah.
He has a position in government to like help organizations run efficiently, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did that play into Doge's run? Right.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
Elon Musk has moved that coin every time.
100%. Yeah. So, Elon and Vivek were just basically marked as the heads of the Department of Government Efficiency.
There you go, government efficiency.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was a play on Doge for sure.
Was it?
But I think that it was kind of factored in like the last couple of weeks, like the last 2 or 3 weeks, like because they've been talking about it.
Yeah.
That was definitely like a catalyst in Dogecoin's run recently.
There's no doubt. It has to be, right? To go to 40 cents, like 39 cents or whatever, it's like
100%. It's insane.
It was at 0.000000 something.
Yeah. It's insane.
And so, I mean, funny, I have Doge, but I wish I was holding it way bigger, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's how it always goes. And that's where it's like funny, like people ask me all the time, when should I buy crypto?
Yeah. Today, right now.
And today is exact because like I think the funny example that I've been using is we have Thanksgiving and Christmas approaching.
Yeah.
And either you're going to be the person at the table that's talking about how you're happy you own crypto, or you're going to be the one sitting there as other people talk about crypto, because crypto is going to be a conversation in millions of households, this year.
Oh my God,
Crypto
what a great like analogy or just kind of idea, right? Yeah, like you're either going to be the guy like, yeah, man, I should have gotten in.
Yep.
Or you're going to be like, dude, look at this.
Exactly. Right? Like, which guy do you want to be?
Exactly. I have a really good friend that is, I mean, he literally quit his job. He just went all in, right? And it was because he was essentially day trading and was doing so well, he went all in.
Yeah.
I am the other side of that. I do real estate full time, so I want to get to how crypto leans into real estate. How does that play out? Because they've been talking about that for 4 or 5 years, 6 years.
Of course, yeah.
But do you kind of have advice for those out there? Because I would tell anyone that like isn't ready to go all in, and you're very extreme, right? You've built an entire company around it and a whole trading platform. My friend is pretty darn extreme. He went to full-blown day trading, quit his multi-6-figure job, and he's making more money doing it day trading right now. He's very successful at it.
Yeah.
But wouldn't you make the point that even someone like myself, like, it's almost like to some extent just a retirement account?
Exactly.
Like pick a couple relatively safe, maybe 1 or 2 higher risks, and just keep throwing money at it and dollar cost average until infinity.
Exactly. That's what I do personally.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm like building a company in this space.
Sure.
But that's what I've been doing since like 2017. So yeah, you just buy it and hold.
I have a really close friend, Dan Fleischman, who has said like, how many of you guys have an iPhone, right? So we'll both speak on stages together.
Sure.
And you'll go out there and you'll go like, who's got it? Who's got the iPhone? The whole crowd, 2,000 people are like this.
Yeah.
And he goes, great. Raise your hand if you have Apple stock. And like 4 people raise their hand.
Yeah.
And his point is, how can culturally people spend $2,000 on a phone, but not make any level of investment banking on the company that they know is making said phone at all? And it's that skew of like intentionality or priorities, right? And I would make a similar argument, not quite as tangible, right? Because I don't know if crypto has anything tangible, but like this is a very real thing. Like people need to be betting on their future. And in my point, and I hope you can argue the same point, hopefully, it's such an infantile space still.
Yeah.
To your point, you think Bitcoin has a shot at going to like screw $1 million goes into 200,000, right? Like I think we're gonna hit 100,000
I think we'll hit 100,000 by end of year.
by end of year.
Yeah, by Jan 1st. Yeah.
Right. And I was buying at $1,800.
Yeah.
Right. That is 1,000x essentially. Well, quite,
Yeah, it's a lot.
500x.
Yeah.
So I say that to just say, like, talk to the people. Like, what should they be doing right now? If there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people that listen to this, watch this. What advice do you give them in this world of crypto?
Sure. Yeah, it's scary, and that's why a lot of people
Sure.
they'll get in and they'll be like, okay, what do I do now? So this is, to be very clear, not financial advice.
This is not financial advice.
But this is what I would do.
Sure.
And this is what I tell my friends as well whenever they ask this question. So I think like the safe bet is like, say you put 10K in an account.
Sure.
Right? I always like diversify between a few things. So it's like probably Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana.
Okay.
And then I leave a little bit in USDC or cash as like my play money for like those Dogecoin bets, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like cool, like making like 7% is fun, right?
Yeah.
But like I'm not here to make 7%. If I wanted to make 7%, I'd go put it in the S&P and not think about it, right?
As a real estate investor, I would give you 12%. If you lend money to me, I'm going to give you 12%.
There you go. Even better.
Backed by real estate, right? So you're not. If you have relationships like me, then you got to be making a little bit bigger bets on your money because
exactly
you have me that could just give you the 12% every month.
Exactly. So like that's what I'm looking for. Like Bitcoin over time, like looking like north of 50% annually. That's like the goal, right? And then for meme coins, like I'm looking for the 1000x all the time. Like that's what, and like I've had some like crazy days, like nothing like insane, but like fun ones where like there's this one coin called Tesla. There's like a meme coin on Tesla
for sure
called Tesla, and it was like I put $100 in the morning. I checked 4 hours later, it was $30,000. So I cashed out $30,000. Yeah,
no way.
It was just like some stupid shit, right? And like it's just like the most ridiculous thing, but like that happens on like a daily basis in a bull market, right? And so it's like I'm always looking for those stupid things where it's just like to a lot of people, like what's the average salary? Like 45K, right?
Yeah,
50K,
maybe a little more now, but still doesn't pay for shit.
Yeah, it's like more than half their salary. Yeah,
that's right.
Like it's like, and it was $100 bet. It's like you're gonna go bet on sports. You're gonna go bet on all these things. It's like, why not bet on the culture?
Where can they learn? Like you can't sit there and just give financial advice, and neither can I. But where could someone be like, I'm gonna throw $100 on this?
Yeah.
Right? How would they ever know? Like, how would I ever know? I don't know. How would I ever know?
That's where it becomes complicated. I think there's like two places. I think one is Twitter. I think like if you want like a real pulse on crypto specifically, Twitter is like the place to do it. Like there's like a couple accounts that you can follow and like you'll get a good pulse on Twitter.
Right.
And outside of that, it's I would say like for the most up to date relevancy, I'd say Twitter. Yeah, I'm only going to say one actually.
Yeah.
Twitter's a place. Yeah.
Yeah, and I would tell most people like, please just understand we're not giving financial advice.
Yeah.
I'm a buy and holder anyways, right?
Sure.
So understand if you want to learn more and make educated bets on yourself, then do that. But
I always say like write everything off to zero, right? Like don't put something in if you're not willing to write off to zero.
But that's why like most people can throw $50 at something once a week.
Exactly. Yeah. Like sports betting, right?
Yeah. Sort of, but even better.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, literally, if you just put $50 into Solana once a week for the rest of your life, you're going to make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's a safe bet.
For the rest of that's a safe bet.
Yeah.
But I guarantee they're going to go to Starbucks one time this week and probably spend $40.
Yeah.
Once, let alone the other like $5 every week, right? So
exactly,
it's just a priority thing, I think.
Sure.
I had a great conversation with someone recently just talking about like this, right? Because I'm like, Jesus, this is a bull market again, right?
Yeah.
Would you make the point? How long do you think this would likely, and again, you don't know for sure, no one will, but like, I'm going to make the point this is going to be a bull market for 6 months, maybe a year.
Right, a year or so, yeah. I think it'll really like truly kick off in like 70 days whenever Trump goes into office, I think. And then I think it'll depend on
that will be the actual start of a real bull market where you can start to see crazy shit like it doubling in
absurdity.
Yeah.
I think that especially I think there'll be like maybe a few catalysts in between then, or not in between then, but like post that, right? Like the if Trump and Cynthia announce like, hey, we're doing this Bitcoin reserve and we're buying 200 million in Bitcoin.
So let's go back to this.
Yeah.
So you think Donald Trump is going to have the and by the way, it would be Donald, but they are going to actively have the United States of America create a reserve.
Yes.
Just like we have our Federal Reserve specific for Bitcoin.
Yeah. So like how we hold a bunch of gold or in the
Yeah.
past, it'll 100% similar thing. And he stated this publicly. And Cynthia's also been on the wave. I was at an event in Wyoming with Cynthia.
Look at me, like all my arms are all crossed.
Myher.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's and to be honest, I think what's going to happen is like they're going to announce that.
Yeah.
A bunch of countries are going to do the same thing. Bitcoin's going to skyrocket. I think we're going to see like ludicrous numbers. And my like interesting projection is I think that in the next like 25 years, there's going to be like a tier 1 country, and in my opinion, it's going to be a European country. They're going to be terrible financially. They're not going to do the Bitcoin reserve. They're going to be an insurmountable amount of debt. But all the European countries have like decent defense equipment, and I think that there's going to be like a country like El Salvador or somebody in Latin America who has a ton of Bitcoin that will trade Bitcoin for defense equipment to bail out a country in Europe. That's like my wild, like, just like projection.
I don't know how wild that is. I don't know. Seems to make sense to me, especially with everything that's going on in South America, right? Like in El Salvador and whatnot.
Yeah.
What else plays into this bull run, right? Is it just strictly politics? Is it maybe New York, right? Is it retail, right? What else can kind of play into whether something's going to run or not, right? We just talked about government. They wanted to consider Ethereum a SEC, right, a security filing and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
None of that has ever taken shape.
Yeah.
What else plays into all this?
Yeah, I think government's a big thing. I think regulation with the SEC specifically is going to be a huge, like if Trump fires Gary Gensler, that'll be the best fucking day of my life. Like,
no kidding.
Because what we're building is like, in such a gray area. And I think if you have someone that's super pro crypto regulation, but like in a good way, that doesn't kill innovation, like that's fantastic for us.
Of course.
Well, it's like Gary, like they have this thing called Operation Choke Point, right? Where it's like they're just attacking Coinbase and Uniswap with all of these like basically bullshit lawsuits just to like basically burn cash and make it look like they're doing something to scare people, right? It doesn't mean anything. They haven't won anything ever. But it just harms the rest of the industry, especially in America. It's like, why? Like, if I'm going to start a crypto company now, like, why would I do it here instead of Dubai? But I think, like, to answer the question is, you need Gary Gensler gone to be able to actually like make that argument for the United States.
So the company that you just started, right? Is not here?
So our dev company is in the United States. We follow a similar structure to what I mentioned earlier. Like the Genius Bridge protocol is a protocol that's run in the Cayman Foundation.
Sure.
And then basically what our dev co does is we've built the front end and we manage the front end, and we basically submit proposals to our DAO to push different pieces together.
So let's get back to meme coins. There was a moment in my life, I want to say it was 2020.
Yeah.
COVID was here at all the time in the world. Everyone did.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck it. Let's go into these. And the names were ridiculous.
Yes.
Right? Like, just the most like purple panty eater, and you're just like,
can I say my favorite meme coin? Yeah. So my favorite one of this cycle that is like my advice to people in meme coins is bet on cults, right?
Sure.
Like cults, you just don't bet against the cult. My favorite cult right now is called Retardio. It's interesting. It's interesting for sure, but it's basically just a group of mentally ill people that are like so bullish and weird and like they're insane, but like they are like die hard to the point where like they get people to like have such strong conviction in it that like, and I've yet to see a community have such crazy conviction in something. Isn't
that incredible?
It's wild. And it's just like this group of like weird people on the internet, and like, I mean, I'm a part of it, I guess, but I have an irresponsible amount of money in Retardio. So
irresponsible amount of money. I think, again, the people who are just getting in probably think any dollar is irresponsible. Now, are people too late
for Retardio or
no?
Crypto, definitely not. Yeah, definitely not. I mean, we've had this discussion about like the federal government buying crypto, right? I think where that hasn't happened yet. So anytime before that, I think is even after, right? Because it's not going to be like they just make one massive buy, right? It's going to be, they're going to be basically DCAing or dollar cost averaging over the course of like a decade. And so like anytime around, like, that's going to be coming in. So like anytime is a good buy, honestly. Yeah.
How would you suggest, and if you can, like, I'm a dollar cost average guy in a general sense.
Same, yeah.
I just slowly trickle in because I kind of take that philosophy, like, if it's good enough for you to buy now, it'll be good enough for you to buy in a year.
Sure.
And you dollar cost average those investments.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
I know you said you do the same thing.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it's the safest way to do it.
Because
right?
you can't time crypto markets, right?
Hell
like
no.
there's no maybe for stocks you can like time things around earnings and you can try and time things, right? Nobody actually knows what the hell's going on. But with crypto, it's like there's no typical indicator.
That's right.
So yeah, the safest thing to do is DCA. There's no point in trying to time a market,
Yeah.
And like the reality is this is probably not what you're doing full time.
Yeah.
You're making income on like a W-2 probably full time. And so like, just DCAing in and continuing to like add to your stack is the move.
So in a general sense, the stable coins give you some level of security.
Sure.
The altcoins give you a little bit less level of security. What do you think is going to happen in this, what you and I both agree is going to be a bull run for 7 months, 10 months, a year?
Sure.
What will be the catalyst for this bull run? Is it just simply Trump? Is it that basic?
No, I think there'll be a number of things. I think it's like Trump policy, regulation. I think the ETF inflows will be a big piece of that. The day Trump won the election, record-breaking Bitcoin ETF inflows.
And what's an ETF for some people who don't?
It's an exchange-traded fund. So basically, a lot of these like large Wall Street guys have basically launched these ETFs that where if you buy like say $1,000 worth of an Ethereum ETF through them, they're also holding $1,000 worth of Ethereum on our side, which is why it's really good for us, right? Before you could buy like what do they call them? Kind of like phantom products where it's like you can buy it and it's like worth it, but like they don't. It's probably like fractionally reserved, right?
Yeah.
It's not like one for one, but like for these guys with these ETFs, they actually have to hold it on the balance sheet. And so it's like if you're buying, if there's $4 billion in inflows in the ETF, that means there's $4 billion in buying power on
the other side. Yeah.
So like that's like really good for crypto, which is why it was such a catalyst and why people were so excited whenever the ETFs got approved. The two being Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum has been kind of a bummer on their ETF inflows, but Bitcoin's been fantastic. And I think you're going to see I think it'll just be like this viral effect of like, okay, like, something happens maybe in government, maybe in regulation. Bitcoin price skyrockets. All these people with 401ks who want exposure to Bitcoin have been waiting. Oh, I don't know. Price moves 20%. They're like, fuck, we missed out. And then they start aping in. And it's just like, it basically creates that hysteria that you saw during the last cycle, like 2021.
So basically, it almost creates this cult-like action that people keep thinking they're missing out.
Yeah.
So they keep buying in, which is going to keep this bull run going and going and going.
Sure. Yeah.
Here's where I was going to go with this last question. Compare this to the relativity of a stock market.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? The stock market exchange has been around for, I genuinely don't even know, but let's call it 100 plus years.
Yeah.
Right? I don't, in my non-expert opinion, I don't even see how it could be comparable in the sense of growth. Like, I just don't see how a stock like Apple could get the same amount of growth for the next 5 years that what I would argue Ethereum could, right?
I completely agree, yeah. But they're just two very different things, right? Like, Ethereum is like very foundational, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like you're trying to rebuild like the financial system from the ground up.
Right.
And the value of that, of rebuilding that entire system is accrued on Ethereum stuff.
That's right.
And so like Apple, I think like they've done a great job. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure, like whenever I like project and I'm like, okay, what can they really do to like meaningfully move a needle such that it like, 5X's over the next decade.
Right.
But like Ethereum, it's like if they actually succeed in like rebuilding this financial system from the ground up at like the global scale where anyone can participate, it's like, that's like huge upside. Yeah.
Yeah. 5X, we're talking like 50X.
Yeah.
Right. Or 500X in some cases, right?
Yeah.
Because to your point, it's the foundational side.
Exactly. Yeah.
If we wanted to equate Coinbase as the biggest platform to a New York Stock Exchange, right? Like
Sure.
You have the older, more customized stocks you can trade, buy and sell each and every day.
Sure.
And there's way more than that, but everyone gets the point. And then you have your crypto, and you can functionally do the same thing. And I just think it's the infantile place right now that if you have some level of risk or some level of willing to say, I'm happy to throw $50 a month or a week or wherever your financial at something, my unexpert ass would argue you're going to make such a higher return in crypto.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that because I have definitely blue chip coins, right? Or blue chip stocks, right? The Apples, the Teslas, the Amazons. I have money over there. I don't even put money over there anymore, just because if I am going to invest in something, I want some more upside.
Yeah, sure.
Making an 18% return in a year, awesome for stock market.
Yeah, of course.
That is nothing for crypto.
Yeah.
That is like, oh, I'm so disappointed. I just made 18% in a year.
Literally, yeah. I was telling you this earlier, but last night I like made a leveraged bet on Dogecoin and I was up like $3,000. But like it doesn't excite me anymore because it just fluctuates so much, and it's like I said about the Tesla. It's like that's exciting. Like yeah.
Dude, this has been fun.
Yeah.
It is genius. What is the website again?
TradeGenius.
TradeGenius.com.
Yeah.
This is Ryan, TradeGenius.com. This kid is 25 years old, way smarter than me, by far.
Definitely not.
I'm very impressed by everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Any last words regarding crypto? Obviously, go to his website, go to his platform, use his platform.
Yeah.
But what else just regarding crypto?
If we can probably give you some sort of referral link, and if anyone signs up, like we could probably like give them like free crypto or something.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that. It'll be in if you're watching this on YouTube, it is in the comments.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, get over to my YouTube. Go to Justin Colby on YouTube, watch it, go to the comments, click that link.
Yeah.
Dude, appreciate you showing up.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, dude. If you guys found at least one thing, share it with 2 friends. If there was one thing that you thought was very valuable, share this with 2 of your friends. I'll see you on the next episode with another killer guest. Later.